Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick here dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having a great start to your day. Hope you're winding down your week on a positive note. I am challenging each and every one of you to stand strong, to stand firm, to stay focused, and to push towards those goals that you have set. Understand that no matter what has happened to this point, no matter how bad it may seem, that if you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. And if you're still in the fight, then you are in a position to win. Never give up, never turn around. It's not about who can circumvent the struggles. It's not about who can move around the circles. Good morning, Ronald. Good to see you. It's not about that. It's about who's willing to stand, who's willing to persevere, who's willing to push through, who has the resilience to stand up to the obstacles. And I want to kind of talk to you about that today. First of all, again, for all of you guys who are celebrating with me on the first episode as a guest resident expert on the Sunrise Project podcast, which is a podcast that is produced and distributed by the OWN network. Um, there's so much story that goes behind that. I'm going to share it with you some more. Talked a little bit about to be able to talk about and share on the things that I'm passionate about is always a blessing. And I almost didn't do it because of some philosophical differences, but I'm glad that I did because mental health and high performance in the Black community is so important. And we, in this particular episode, we're talking about healing addiction and mental illness in young Black males and how it pertains to the function and the dynamic function of the Black family. So I'm going to be sharing some of those things with you. If you haven't got a link, I'm going to be sharing them with you. But today I want to talk with you about purpose. And before I get started, I want to remind those who may not get a chance to stay for the entire video to check the description box because we are going to be doing an event, the Provoke to Purpose event on the 2nd of July. And I want you guys to attend. Not only are we going to tackle purpose, and a lot of this I'm going to cover here, why it's important, but not only are we going to tackle purpose, I am actually going to gift a $10,500 platinum package to one of the enrollees. If you enroll in this course, your name will be entered in the drawing, and I will do that drawing on that day. So moving on. The question I'm going to start with is, have you moved into the territory of your purpose? Let me start by saying that despite what you may have been told, despite what some things have presented to you, despite what you may have been through, every last one of us has a purpose. There's nobody here without a gift. I have said this so many times in the past. If you followed me, you know my stance on this. I have worked with almost every type of person you can imagine, from people with learning disabilities, Down syndrome, autism, oppositional defiant disorder, and a number of other things, ADHD, to people from extreme poverty, people from extreme wealth, people struggling with trauma, people struggling with all types of baggage they're dragging from their past. And I have yet in my dealings to find one person without a gift. And if you have a gift, you have a purpose. The gift is to facilitate the purpose. And that is what I want to focus on here today, is how purpose operates in our life. See, we live in such a fast-paced society. Studies show that at no time in human history has human beings been so thronged throughout the day and pushed in so many directions and demanded to be responsible for so many things. And yet we find that we are most likely the most unfulfilled at any time in human history. We have a lot of things going on, but we don't have a lot of fulfillment. We don't experience a lot of joy. We don't experience a lot of happiness. And someone will ask, well, when you were given a gift, when you were given a purpose, and in God's encounter with Jeremiah early on, and in the setting of the stage of what Jeremiah would end up having to do and what Jeremiah would end up having to go through, Jeremiah says, I'm too young for this. And God's response is, don't say you're too young, because before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And I ordained you as a prophet. Before you were even formed in your mother's womb, you had a purpose, you had a gift, you had something that I had implanted in you that was meant to be done. Now, if you go into chapter 20 in the same book of Jeremiah, you find Jeremiah is about had it. He is frustrated. He has gone through all kind of different things. They've thrown him in pits. They laugh at him. They talk about him. He says, I am a derison. Daily they mock me. And he said, now check this out. He says that I have been treated so badly. I'm paraphrasing. I've been treated so badly that I had said within myself that I will never speak your word and prophesy in your name again. But your word was like a burning fire shut up in my bones. I tried to contain it. I tried to withhold it, but I couldn't. Why, Jeremiah? Why? It was my purpose. Let me show and see that behind the purpose was a passion, and the passion was pushing. And what you find when Jeremiah writes Lamentations, Jeremiah is telling you that there was a fulfillment of walking in the passion. That was a fulfillment of living in the purpose. And the thing is that we have become so pushed about by these busy things that we get caught up in, all these things that we do that leave us empty, that leave us unfulfilled, that leave us happy, contribute to disenfranchisement, contributes to depression, contributes to dismay, it contributes to a consistently high divorce rate, because we are not living in our purpose. We are chasing a fast-paced illusion that constantly eludes us because it's not for us. We are meant to create, not chase. We're meant to walk in, not pursue. But what are we doing? We are sitting around, running around, doing a bunch of things, but getting nothing done of any intrinsic value that leads to our fulfillment. And the crazy thing is, when it starts to get where all the things you said, if I could just do this, if I could just have that, and you look at the bank account and you've hit the number, you look at the driveway and the cars that you had said you needed there, and you look at the house and it's bigger than the one you envisioned, and yet you're waking up 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't figure out why you feel so empty. I'm talking about me now. You feel so empty, it's because you're not walking in your purpose. You're not in the second, in that question, have you entered into the territory of your purpose? See, people often ask me, how do I discover my purpose? Well, first thing is move into the territory. You'll know the territory because it will align with the gift. It will align with your natural yearnings to do things, the things you're gifted to do. Look at how you can help people with what the things you love to do, and you'll move into the territory of your gift. You might not hit the mark immediately. That's why Paul said, I press towards the mark for the higher prize of the higher calling in God in Christ, because it's a pressing, it's a pushing, it's a drive, it's a walk. You're moving to live in it, but you got to move into the territory. In the territory, things open up. In the territory, your gift will make room for you. In the territory, your gift will bring you before men who have the ability to put you in the right position so that you can execute the purpose, so that you can move in the very reason that you were created here. You are not fulfilled because you are not walking in purpose. The beautiful thing about this career milestone of being on an internationally distributed podcast talking about what I'm passionate about and reaching people and getting outside of myself, because I almost didn't do it because of philosophical differences. I almost stepped away from it, and someone whispered in my ear, you got to put your pride aside because this is bigger than you. There are people who will not hear you on your platform alone. There were people who don't know you exist right now, who need to know you exist, who need to know that there's hope for what they're going through, who need an installment of hope, and you're the instrument through which God will install that hope. You've got to accept it. and went through all the rigors of road, because if you're going to be associated with OWN, you're going to have you're going to be associated with the brand and the image and the name of Oprah Winfrey. We got to do a background check. We got to check you out. We got to validate credentials. We got to do all this stuff. And anybody knows me, I'm a renegade. I don't like having, I don't want to be validated by nobody. But at the end of the day, this was bigger than me. But what I found is they did not censor me. They did not ask me to tone down my rhetoric. They did not ask me to do anything. Speak your truth, Dr. Wallace. Speak your truth. We want the people to hear you speak your truth. And they allowed me to speak my truth. And I'm grateful for that. But I am literally walking and living in my passion, in my purpose. And it hasn't been an easy journey, but this thing isn't about ease. This thing is about fulfillment. This thing is about reward. This thing is about living a life that speaks of you after you're gone. It's about being a representation of the Creator. I'm trying to get you to understand the power and purpose. Now, something that I have often said as well is that purpose does not exempt you from problems. Purpose pushes you through problems. You heard me say that when you discover your purpose, it will explain your pain. Say, Doc, what the hell does that mean? Let me tell you something. There's no empty movements in your life. There's no empty situations, and you're wondering why you had to go through some things. Let me tell you something. The statement that when you discover your purpose, it will explain your pain, it runs deep. It is highly complex, and it is extremely exhausting trying to get to it all and understand it all. But I'll tell you, on the surface, this is what it means. On the surface, it means that the very pain that you've experienced will serve as a conviction in the force in which you move in operating in your passion. Have you ever noticed that most people who are telling you they're operating in their passion and doing something they love, it was birthed out of pain? Men who work with fatherless children grew up without a father most of the time. People who have a love and passion for cancer survivors are most often survivors. People who deal with abuse and trauma and childhood sexual abuse and other, they were victims at one point. They survived. Their pain became their conviction in unleashing and moving in their purpose. The question is, are you walking in your purpose, or are you simply being thrown about by this fast-paced society that makes demands of you but renders to you no fulfillment? Because that's not why you should have a sense of fulfillment. That should be something in your life that you're doing that literally wakes you up in the morning. You don't even need an alarm clock, because you're waking up to put in work. You're not just going to a job. You are putting in work, and there's a difference between your work and your job. There's nothing wrong with having a job. There are things that have to be done that require that you, but there's something about a purpose that at some point you will do this thing for free as long as you got everything you need to sustain yourself. That's purpose. Purpose is this thing that yearns and pulls and tugs and holds you. And when you understand your purpose, it'll get you through some of the most difficult times. Why? Because you understand that you're building a stronger conviction, that you're building a stronger force, a stronger power source, that it is literally going to catapult you into the next. See, it's this passion that comes from your purpose. Like I say, when you discover your purpose, it will explain your plan, and it will ignite a passion. What you talking about when you say passion? What are you talking about when you say passion? Well, I'm talking about this force that's inside of you, this yearning, this burning that says, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it. This passion is the thing that when everything is moving against you and you're getting knocked down and you're getting thrown about and you can't see your way out and you've started to look at it, something is saying give up, but the passion won't let you. That's this thing that pushes you into the next dimension and allows you to operate with authority and conviction in a new dimension, in a higher dimension. See, everybody that's throwing about in this fast-paced society can only see in the third dimension. It's a three-dimensional world to them. If I can't see it and I can't touch it, it ain't real. But when you start to operate in purpose, you move to the fourth and then the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is where things are manifested by ideas, by thoughts, by concepts, by beliefs, and by your imagination. You literally manifest things that don't exist. This is how we get things that we didn't have. It's because somebody was willing to step outside of the third dimension and move into a new dimension with authority and conviction and establish something for their lives that had not yet been established in the third dimension and decide to walk in it. That's the power of purpose. So many people have never even experienced fifth dimension reality because they have been locked in to what somebody said about them when they were a child. You're never going to be good at this. You're not smart enough. You're not big enough. You're not fast enough. You don't have the right this, and you don't know you bought into it so much that you dumbed down your vision and your dream and the idea of how you were supposed to live. You became reduced to someone else's definition and opinion of who you were, and you have never explored the possibilities that there was something greater for you. But it is time that you step outside of the third dimension, and it's time that you walk into the territory of your purpose. It's time that you insert yourself into an environment that is conducive for you to explore exceptional, extraordinary, and phenomenal realities that you were literally created to have and to do and to participate. Somebody in this world needs you to be the better version of yourself. Maybe it's the children in your home. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's the children in the neighborhood. Maybe it's the people in the office. Maybe it's some people you don't even know exist that are observing you from a distance and watching how you move because they relate to you. They need to see you explore the greatness that's implanted inside of you and the gifting that you have been granted by God to execute your purpose. It's time to get into that space. It's time to move into that space. Some of you are going through some things and you're questioning what you're going through. I know I've been there. I know what it's like, but I've learned to understand that digression often precedes a mighty dose of progression, that we often have to understand in the midst of a very turbulent time that we're in the middle of the process, and the process always precedes the promise, and that in this digression is the preparation for compulsion. We are often moved back so that when we are unleashed, there's a conviction and a force behind our movement that compels and pushes us, propels us into a stratosphere that we could not have experienced without the pullback. It's sort of like the bow and arrow. The further you pull back the arrow in the bow, the greater force it is released, and the further it travels. It has to move backwards before it can go forward. But understand that God designed you to respond with a force when you're pulled back so that you can be released. So don't count yourself out when things go bad. I'm gonna tell you, I've been there. I know what it feels like to feel defeated. I know what it feels like to feel overwhelmed. I know what it feels like to feel like you can't. I know what it feels like to ask yourself, how did I end up here? Where did I go wrong? What should I have done? And then you realize that none of the answers to all of those questions will not provide the solution for where you're about to go. You've got to sit up and say, I'm moving forward. I know my destiny. I know my purpose. I know why I'm here. And because I know why I'm here, I cannot be stopped. I cannot be shaken. shut out. I cannot be quenched. I have a purpose. I'm planting my flag in the territory of my purpose. I'm claiming the territory of my destiny. I'm about to do something exceptional, and ain't nothing nobody in no dark world or dark place can do to stop it. Oh, you need to become acquainted with your purpose. That's why things are so frustrating right now, because you're operating, just moving around, trying to stumble into something that feels good. No, that's not how. You got to make up in your mind that I'm going to become intimately acquainted with my purpose. And as I become intimately acquainted with my purpose, it's going to ignite a passion. It's going to open up an entire spectrum of visionary integration, so to speak, visionary ideas. I'm going to see things clearer than I've ever saw them before, because now I'm connected to my purpose. Oh man, I'm excited about next Saturday, because we are going to get deep off into how purpose works. See, discovering your purpose is great. You need to be moving in the territory of your purpose. You need to be aware of your gifting. You need to understand it, but you also need to understand how the inner workings of your purpose are moving in your life in every area. Why things are happening over here, why things are happening over there. How do I use it to my benefit? How strong and dependable is an awareness of my purpose? What can understanding my purpose do for me? How do I maximize and optimize my purpose to ensure that I live a life of fulfillment and that I aim and get the things that I should have in my life? Nothing shall be withheld from me when I'm walking in my purpose. No good thing shall be withheld from me. Poverty is not my lot in life. My purpose says so. Suffering is not my lot in life. My purpose says so. Being empty and unfulfilled is not my lot in life. Begging others for sustenance is not my lot in life. There's something on the inside of me that is of such great value that I am living, walking abundance. It's not that I have abundance, I am abundant. And that's when you start to understand the power of purpose. Oh, y'all need to show up. Next Saturday, June the 2nd, we're tackling all of this. I'm also going to be giving away a $10,500 platinum package. I'm going to pull the name from the enrollees, even if you don't, even if you don't make it. I'm still going to have your name in that bag, and somebody's going to walk away. And I'm excited about the ones that I've given away recently. I don't know how many more I'm going to give away, because every time I do that, I have 52 slots over the next year that I can't fill with a paying customer. But this is my way of giving. This is my way of blessing. This is my way of inviting people into a space that I literally consider to be sanctified and purified, to initiate healing, to generate and facilitate empowerment, to execute love. And we are in a situation in this society where all of that is so necessary. Come on down. The link is in the box. I'm telling you. Oh, and by the way, I have a partnership with Afterpay now. So for the people who are familiar with online shopping and Afterpay, you can use Afterpay and you can pay in installments, or you can pay. And I mean, it's $150. The course on its own is $400. But I'm doing this and teaching it in person for $150. And you stand a chance to win a platinum package. Just getting this whole understanding of purpose and leaving with direction and conviction on moving in your purpose is huge. You don't want to miss this. You definitely don't want to miss this. But I mean, just what I shared with you today, share that with somebody. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button, click it. Because I'm going to be coming consistently through this summer to bring things to you that will help you advance your life, that will help you live a more fruitful, productive, and empowered life, to take you out of the zone and the realm of being a victim, to move you into the realm of being a conqueror and living life at the level of your design. That's my encouragement to you. That's my challenge to you. I hope to see you on next Saturday. Also, as I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. That's my challenge to you. Start living life on full. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.